course, we cannot forget the hips. So this is a very simple targeted drill just to activate the hips. It incorporates a couple of the things that you've been working on with Mike, so hopefully this will be like a nice thing to do in the morning. If you have that band that you've been doing the openings with, maybe you'll make it into a little bit of like the band that we use at the gym. You could just tie it together. If not, you really don't need it, but you're just going to start with just some simple warm up, just to kind of get in touch with the body, bring some awareness to what you're doing. So feet are planted on the ground, lower belly is sucked in, and then you're just dropping the knees over to one side. As you do that, the head is rotating to the opposite side. So try to coordinate that movement nice and slowly. So use your eyes. This is not that easy to do. I struggle with it. You know, my head wants to move slowly, my knees want to move faster. So you're really just trying to just coordinate that movement. Just start to open up the lower back a little bit. Also get some mobility going in the neck. Just a couple of these. Starting out very, very gently. And then coming back to center, rolling over onto one side. My left side is on the ground. And then you're just doing the leg reaches that worked well with Mike. So bottom leg is in a right angle, upper body is comfortable, top leg is extended. Just make sure that the hip is not flexed. So take that leg, move it, if anything, just a little bit back behind you, and then you're just reaching that foot away, getting some length in the hip, in the QL, in the lower back, and then relaxing. So just reaching the hip away as much as you possibly can, and then relaxing. Again, just checking, seeing where your foot is. You should barely be able to see it. Reaching, and then relaxing. As you're doing this, try to let the rest of your body be heavy. So the only thing that's moving is just your leg, and it is very subtle, just that hip is dipping, and then coming back to neutral. You should barely see it. Not a lot of tension anywhere else in the body. Everything else is really relaxed. Just making sure that that hip is open, that's not flexed. Everything on the side body is nice and long. Hold, and then relax, and then switching sides. I like to think of, so same thing, just making sure that you're propped up properly, checking the hip, making sure that it's nice and open. Foot can be against the ground. It can be lifted too, if that feels better. But again, the intention here is that the rest of the body is completely relaxed. Even this leg is relaxed. It should feel as though you're completely relaxed, you're resting, and someone is just gently pulling your ankle just a little bit further away from you, just to create a little bit of length, and then relaxing. You don't need to do a million of these, but a couple go a long way. And just take one more, just reach away, hold it, and then relax. And then you're going to put the band on above the knees. If you don't have it, that's fine. You really don't need it. You should feel this anyway. And then you're just dropping back over onto one side, and you're taking a static clamshell. So just holding for 30 seconds. So toes are together, knees are together, and then you're just lifting up into the clamshell. So you're lifting as high as you possibly can. And then the activation here comes from reaching that top leg, in my case it's the right, and reaching that right knee diagonal and up, really, really as far away from my hips as I can possibly get, so that if I drop down, this top leg is really covering the bottom knee. It's well surpassed. So I'm not here, I'm here. So if anything, you can begin this way, where you're shifting that hip forward and then reaching up. Really try to reach up as high as you possibly can, and you're just holding here. Reaching up and away. Even without a band, you're holding here. You start to feel this, activating. And then you're just relaxing, not for too long. Straighten out both legs, and then you're lifting up just from the side. From here, you can do whatever you want with the bottom leg. The important thing is the top leg, you are turning those toes down towards the floor as much as you possibly can, internally rotating in that hip, making sure the hip is open, so backwards just a little bit. Get your balance here, and then really activate that leg as much as you possibly can. Try to extend just like you were doing in the last exercise out of that hip. So you're really reaching away and you're activating this leg as much as you possibly can. Your quad is activated, your calves are activated, like feet, ankle, all of the muscles in this right leg are working right now. You're also taking the hip back a little bit, so you're trying to extend that hip out. That should get some muscles firing as well. And really focusing on pointing those toes down, reaching out through the heel. I feel this already, everything is on fire, the rest of my body is relaxed. From here, you're just propping up onto all fours, taking a second just to make sure you have a neutral spine so the back isn't tucked under, nice and neutral here, and then you're out to the side for a fire hydrant hold. Same thing, about 30 seconds here. So just taking a moment, my right leg is lifted, so I'm trying to shift my weight towards the center, trying not to get too lazy over here and lean into my left, lean into the right. Also, you're lifting up that knee as high as possible and trying to bring it towards your elbow. Also, my feet are active here. So I've got a nice right angle going there, trying to keep my ankle in line with my knee and then bring my knee towards my elbow and keep my weight centered. And rest. Now we're going to the other side, right into the hold, just down, knees into the chest, prop that right up. Not too much of a rest here. And again, so here you're now lifting that hip forward, diagonal, and up out of the socket. Just holding. Check yourself out for a second, drop the knees down. The top knee should be on top of the bottom knee. If it's not, then just push it forward as you open up a little bit higher. As you start to open up higher, you're gonna feel like you're gonna wanna lean back, feel a little more comfortable. No, take your weight forward, push that hip out, open up as high as you can. Rest, straighten out the legs. This one is important. Kick that leg up. Internally rotate the hip, drop that hip down as much as you possibly can. Make sure at least the top foot, very, very active. The foot is flexed as much as you possibly can. Toes are pointed down to the ground as much as you can. Heel lifts up, and then same thing, you're just drawing that hip away from you and extending that leg. So just like the standing drill that you do against the wall, like where you're really just pushing the floor away. The floor is not there, but you can imagine it is. That toe is down. I feel everything once I do that. In this left side. 2, 1. And then you're propping up onto all fours. Same thing here. Being very, very mindful of what the back is doing, where you're starting. Neutral spine, knee out to the side. Trying really hard for that knee and ankle to stay in line with each other. So trying not to let the ankle drop down. As you're doing this, keeping that knee working also towards the elbow and then making sure that the weight is in the center. You should feel this everywhere. And rest. If you don't have a band, you can repeat that again. So you're just doing a 30-second hold through each exercise. Even if you do have a band, you can do it twice, but one time should be enough to get the hips just ready to go for standing exercises, which are next.